Unfortunately, I have seen the Odyssey, and this movie is far worse than I imagined it could be. And it has literally nothing to do with controversy. It is straight up just an awful movie. Of course, my expectations were very low. Literally, my channel is built upon hating this movie. My expectations were in the gutter and Bar was in hell, and it's somehow worse than this. It was worse than I could ever imagine. Well done, Nolan. This movie was so awful that at least it made me laugh because how bad it was. I expected a bad movie, bad dialogue, bad costumes. But at least I expected it will be good at technical level. And it's not. Everything we saw in the trailer and had an expectation it will be bad, it is bad. But there is something that trailer have not showed us. This movie is edited like a TikTok. It is cut every 5 seconds. And yes, if I gonna drop the F-bomb while recording, I just gonna replace it with Nolan! Even if you like this movie. Even if you think that Nolan is the best director in the world. There is no way that you can give this movie a perfect score. This movie is sitting currently at 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, suggesting this is the best Nolan movie and one of the best movies ever recorded. And this is straight up impossible. This is not the best Nolan movie, and it's edited like a goddamn 3 hours TikTok. This is literally a 3 hours TikTok. It has TikTok quality dialogue, TikTok quality editing, and TikTok quality costumes. You can't tell me that this is a 10 out of 10 movie. It looks beyond ridiculous when it's supposed to be taken seriously. This is not meant to be a parody, and this is new level of parody. It makes Meet the Spartans look like a serious documentary.
Come on, Marty, let's go party.
I can't believe I'm saying this. This is a mixtape of movies. This is mixtape, literally mixtape.
Were you really shocked by the 10 from IGN?
People looked at 3-hour TikTok and decided this is a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. Masterpiece of This is a pretentious and boring movie. And the boredom is broken only by the moments when it looks so bad that I started to laugh. For the first part of the review, let's just pretend a controversy around it does not exist, and judge it by the movie itself. All the reviews were saying this is a cinematic achievement, a masterpiece, a breathtaking movie. And how can you enjoy and appreciate those cinematic aspects of this movie if nothing is allowed to stay on the screen for more than 5 seconds without a cut? I was sure that I gonna hate the dialogue the most. But the editing is far worse. It is worse than costumes, worse than casting. This is literally the worst aspect of this movie. This editing literally made me sick. I want to throw up because of it. And because everything is getting cut after 5 seconds, you can't appreciate any good part of this movie. You can't appreciate any aspect of the filmmaking because nothing is allowed to stay on the screen for more than 5 seconds. Who edits like that? Except TikTok. If a movie is edited like that, who cares that it was shot on IMAX? It could be recorded on an iPhone. In vertical aspect ratio, it would fit this editing. Now let's go to my previously favorite part, dialogue. That was dropped 3 times in the first 5 minutes of the film. And right after that, they said father. To add the insult to the injury.
The language as well is very modern. You say dad rather than father.
Because I wouldn't have even said father back in the day, would I? I would have been in Greek.
When you look at the ancient world, there's a lot of cultural prejudice. There's a lot of, they're sort of elevating it because it's old, whatever it is. I just want to make it feel very fresh for modern audiences.
This infamous clip from the trailer that shows this magnificent dialogue is one of the first scenes of the actual movie. Tom Holland drops dad 3 times during 1 minute and then 2 times says father.
My dad is coming home.
This is a point when we are past any argument of historical accuracy. This is moment when this dialogue just sounds idiotic. Even if you put this dialogue in a serious scene, in modern setting, it would sound idiotic. This is supposed to be a serious scene and you drop word like that. And addressing this is saying that in ancient Greece you will speak in Greek. So, if this is a modern adaptation, what stops you from saying 6-7? What stops you from saying skibidi rees? This abomination of the dialogue is elevated in its stupidity by the fact that the more gravity should scene have, the more serious it is supposed to be, this is when the dumbest lines appear. This is a scene when they arrived at Hades and running away from army of ghosts. And Odysseus screaming, "Let's go." This is the best thing that Nolan came up with. When Odysseus is running away from ghost of his fallen soldiers, the man who died at Troy and was not properly buried. And this is a very important part of the movie. Both in case of dialogue and costumes, it is like that. That is bad for most of the movie, but not bad enough to turn you off until you are getting to the part with the worst offender comes in. Listening to this dialogue is like watching a beetle rolling a ball of crap. And at some point, this ball of crap hits the fan. Same goes for costumes. Most of them are bad. None of them are historically accurate. But for the most part, they are not bad enough that you want to scream.
What is this?
And when it comes to costumes, we have seen every worst offender as promotional material.
Why is Batman on my Odyssey?
Another great thing to say about the dialogue. The dialogue between Polyphemus and Odysseus is literally not existing. First of all, this is one of the most iconic parts of the Odyssey, and it was cut out. The conversation of Odysseus and Polyphemus is a foundation of the whole conflict with Poseidon. In one of the interviews, Nolan said that he wants to make it a more grounded take, that he wanted to show that people of those times explained a lot of natural disasters with action of the gods. At the same time, we have a clearly shown action of the god that comes from the prophecy. During the scene in Hades, they meet with the seer. Originally, they wanted to ask him for direction. And Odysseus, speaking with seer privately, gets the prophecy. This prophecy says that they will arrive on island that belongs to Helios. And all of Odysseus' crew is going to die if they gonna eat meat of one of the Helios cows. And this prophecy takes effect almost immediately, right after they eat the cow. Whole crew of Odysseus is drowning during a storm. It's hard to read something like that in other way than direct cause and effect of God's actions. At the same time, after blinding Polyphemus, Odysseus has a line that after blinding him, the crew started blaming every instance of bad weather on the gods. So you have two scenes that directly contradict each other. One is telling you that ancient people were blaming natural disasters on the gods' actions, while the other is showing you direct cause and effect of prophecy and God's action. Show directly contradicts tell, like this movie can't decide how much of mythological elements and God's involvement it is supposed to be in this story. A lot of scenes with Zendaya suggests that Athena is basically personification of Odysseus' PTSD. So you are getting the strange contrast that it's okay to talk with the dead, it's okay to have a Cyclops, it's okay to have a Scylla, but it's not okay that thunder is caused by Zeus, and that's just one of many strange decisions that this movie takes. And I'm gonna have a separate video when I'm gonna talk about the dumbest things that happen in this movie. The video is already 10 minutes long, and I already doubt that many of you want to listen to me this long. So before we go to the casting, let's wrap up the rest of the movie. Costumes are terrible. Dialogue is terrible. Editing is absolutely terrible. There are still good scenes in this movie, mostly carried by the actor's performance. Dialogue is bad, but not bad enough to destroy the movie, and I expected that it will be the most jarring thing that will prevent you from enjoying this movie. When Odysseus arrives at Ithaca, still being disguised, pretending to be a beggar, Antonius is telling Odysseus to F off. Line that can rival Let's Go. It's opening gates of Troy with Come on!
Come on!
Same goes with costumes. Most of them are still not immersion breaking. Until you get a Batman!
Batman, I would say Batman is not historically accurate, but looks like shit. Thank you. Next.
So you get a movie that has some good scenes. For example, scene where Cersei is turning Odysseus' men into pigs. But at the same time, you have so many scenes that are completely ridiculous that it's hard to treat this movie seriously, and this is a genre that you need to take this movie seriously for it to be a good movie. So even ignoring all the controversy, even agreeing with the controversial decisions, you can't be in the right mind and give this movie a perfect score because it has so many elements that don't work. Even ignoring everything strange and political about this movie, I don't think you can be in the right mind and give it more than 6 out of 10. Now let's go to the actual controversy, starting with the elephant in the room, casting. The one that caused the biggest storm, Lupita Nyong'o, the Helen of Congo, I don't think she has 5 minutes of screen time playing 2 roles. It's basically a cameo at this point. The actors with this magnificent yellow line under their names are the only proper roles. All the others are basically cameos. Maybe you can add Mia Goth and Benny to this list. Maybe. But their characters are more plot devices than actual characters. So at this point, I don't get this casting even more. Why not cast Greeks if most of those characters don't even have a full page of dialogue? And back to the dialogue. Himesh Patel is character that delivers line, "We are the Greeks." The Indian guy says, "We are the Greeks." And he and Sinon are the only soldier of Odysseus that have enough of a dialogue that you can actually be bothered to remember their names. At this point, I can't say this casting is anything but malicious. Nolan is basically trying to tell you, those are the Greeks. Every possible ethnicity except Greeks. And outside of the main cast, there is so many close-ups on people of different ethnicities to show you in your face that they are here and Greeks are not. It straight up looks like Nolan is going out of his way to represent the whole world except for Greece. Like, what are we doing here? Only reason why I'm not explicitly saying how it looks like is because I think the Google lobotomized AI can say it is a hate speech. Also, at this point, I'm absolutely sure that Emily Wilson translation was used. Odysseus' servants are explicitly called slaves. Cersei gives Odysseus lecture about toxic masculinity in terms of turning his men into pigs. Penelope has thankfully just one scene like that when she lashes out on Telemachus how much of a girl boss she is. When Odysseus arrives to Ithaca and talks to Penelope for the first time, still in disguise, not saying that he is Odysseus, he is basically saying that he is responsible for fall of civilization, for fall of the Bronze Age. He is framing burning of the Troy like a fall of entire civilization of Greece, and he is responsible for this. Like, in the end, this movie is trying to tell you that you are not supposed to look at Odysseus and his men as heroes. They are bandits, destroyers, and monsters. Or even worse, just like Emily Wilson said, a complicated man. Are we not allowed to have heroes anymore? But of course, who is the most heroic, greatest soldier in history of Greece? Sinon. Odysseus is explicitly calling Sinon the bravest warrior that he knows. Combining that with the fact that Odysseus is speaking with Ghost of Sinon as the main ghost in Hades that is supposed to be a spirit of Achilles makes it look that Achilles was removed from the story. He is just once mentioned by name, and Sinon, who is originally not a part of the Odyssey, is a proxy for Achilles. Elliot Page is not playing Achilles, he is playing proxy for Achilles. And that's what I have to say about this abomination right after going out of the cinema. Maybe more things will come to my mind later. I'm not gonna watch it again. It is below average movie. For sure, the worst of Nolan's movies. While critics are trying to tell you this is the best one. And they are saying that because of political messaging that is included in this movie. This movie has a ton of flaws, even if you completely disregard the drama, even if you agree with controversial decisions. This is not a 10 out of 10 movie. It has good moments, but it also has moments that are so bad, so dumb, so ridiculous that it makes you laugh. And this is supposed to be a historical epic, not a parody. And this bad movie is getting praised like it's a second coming of Jesus. Because it's an element of culture war. For me, if you ignore the controversy, it's a 4 out of 10 movie because it reaches the point of being so bad that it's funny. If you add all this crap that is around this movie, I can't judge it higher than 2 out of 10. This movie is awful. And it's not awful by incompetence, it's awful by design. This is bad movie with some good aspects, some good scenes, but it was made with the sheer intent of mocking European culture. If you somehow reach the end, thank you. Nolan posting shall continue because I'm obsessed. That's it for today, and I will see you in the next Nolan video.